Start this out in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, and it looks like we've had a ruling that could lead to historical precedent. That is the ruling, at least by a lower court currently, that President Trump does not have immunity from the actions he's being charged with, and one of them being with Jack Smith, charging him with insurrection. So he does not have immunity according to a lower court. Now, this could go up to the Supreme Court. That is very possible. But one of the bullet points, provisions listed in the court's ruling, and by the way, this was a unanimous decision. So every judge ruled against President Trump. I believe it was 3 justices, all ruled that Trump does not have immunity. But in addition to ruling he does not have immunity in this 50-some-odd page report, they gave Jack Smith the permission to continue his trial, to continue his case while Trump is filing an appeal. So nothing is suspended while this is going on, which means one huge thing. That case is likely to be adjudicated before the election. Remember, most folks would agree, whether you're on the left or the right, that one of Trump's primary goals was to delay in hopes of becoming the commander-in-chief, and then he could do whatever he needed to be done to deal with these cases. That's not likely to happen with this case now, because the Supreme Court, well, not the Supreme Court, but the lower court has ruled that he does not have immunity, which leads to question number 1. Is the Supreme Court likely to overturn it? Do you think that the SCOTUS, with a 6-3 majority in favor of the Republican Party, 3 being personally appointed by Trump himself, do you think they may come in and rescue Trump and suggest that he does have immunity? We'll be talking about that. Also, we're going to have a side note. We're talking about parents of children who commit massacres. Many folks are probably aware that the mom of the shooter, I believe in Michigan, if I'm getting my states correctly, was found guilty yesterday of 4 counts of manslaughter, representing each one of the victims her son took out. Now, he's currently incarcerated for the rest of his natural life. However, the parents are now being held accountable. Mom has already been found guilty. Dad has a trial coming up very soon. 4 counts of manslaughter, each count carrying up to 15 years of incarceration. So mom could be looking down the barrel of 60 years. Will she get that? Who knows? But mom is about to do some prison time. Mom was found guilty 4 times over, representing each one of the victims. So one of the things we're also going to be asking is, do you think the parents should be held accountable if they purchase firearms for their children and the children commit a dastardly act with the firearm? Or are kids responsible for their own actions, and the parents, as long as they didn't do anything wrong, they shouldn't be held accountable? What say you? So that is what we're going to be discussing today. You know how the program works. It is, always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA always will be the preferred guest. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So understand, whether you're in the box, whether you're in the comment section, no matter where you're at, you don't have to agree with the damn host. And no one's going to censor or limit your time for that. It's all about free speech. So looking in the comment section right off, on YouTube, by the way, I don't know what's going on with the YouTube side. Be held accountable. The obvious question is, why the hell just now? We've had hundreds of these things. So why just now? Hello, handsome. I would love to hear what you think about the Arizona Republican caught on a hot mic trying to bribe Carrie Lake. That person should be charged. Now listen, a lot of folks are not big fans of MAGA, Trump, and Trump supporting politicians. Some folks in the Republican Party believe that Trump is destroying the Republican Party itself. So it sounds like that was a case of a traditional Republican trying to get someone as volatile as Kerry Lake out of the picture so that the Arizona Republicans wouldn't see their entire state turn blue. Could be wrong. That's my analysis. Looking in the comments. Keeps freezing up. Okay, let me know if you guys on TikTok, if it's showing some type of freezing, because I see somebody says it keeps freezing up. For the first time in my life, I will vote Democrat to get rid of Trump. Yikes. Going straight to the box. Having some trouble with the devices here. I don't know why. Hell yes, he should be held accountable. She should be held accountable. They bought the gun. They taught him his values, and they should do time. Well, Mom will do time in regards to the mother of that mass shooting. Mom is officially going to do time. How much, we don't know, but Mom is about to do time. I don't know if that would happen in Texas, though. I don't know. Going straight to the box, just another number. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Just another number. So we're talking about Trump's immunity claim or plea or case being shot down, and the mass shooter having his own mom potentially do a 60-year stint. Just another number. Good afternoon.
Well, I haven't really followed too much on that, but my opinion is I don't think they should be arresting the parents or convicting their parents of anything. That would be like, for everything that a child does, I mean, well, how far are they going to take that? It's going to start with that, then it's going to lead to some drugs or some minor offenses. And who knows what that could lead to. They're just trying, this is like the beginning stages of starting to lock innocent people up for no reason.
Well, but you do realize we're talking about a child committing mass murder with a device that the parents bought the child. You don't see the mom being culpable at all. She's the one, or the mom or the dad, the parents together, buying their child a gun and them using the gun to go take a bunch of people out. You don't see you don't see any responsibility at all.
Well, like I said, it's like I said, it's like they're going to start here. How far is that going to go? We can't give them that power. They already have more than enough power over us, you know, as it is, the way I look at it.
Right. Well, let me ask you to you that. Let me ask you to you that way. Speaking of suggesting that we can't give the courts that kind of power, how do you feel about a parent purchasing a deadly weapon for a 15-year-old? Do you think giving a 15-year-old that kind of power? Do you support that?
No. That should not be. That should not be legal either. Is that what she did? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, she bought her 15-year-old son a gun for his birthday.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I didn't know that. Something like that. Well, yeah, something. Yeah, I guess, you know, she should be held accountable for some type of you know, responsibility or, you know, on that. But yeah, something that's a special case. I would say yes, but see, that's just the thing. Is that where it's going to be limited to, or are they going to, you know, start, you know, spreading it out to more things?
Yeah, but if you have the mindset that we can't allow the courts to do A or B because they may expand it, we could say, well, you can't actually execute somebody for murder because you will expand it to pedophilia, rape, robbery, so we can't give it to you. I mean, you would never get anywhere with that mindset.
That's not what I'm saying. It's like if the kid obtained the weapon on his own, how are you going to hold the parents accountable for that?
Yeah. Well, how does a 15-year-old obtain a weapon on his own is a different question.
Get him in the streets.
Yeah.
You can get him in the streets.
That's true. That is true. So as long as the parents were totally ignorant of the child being in possession of a firearm, you don't believe they should be charged, and I tend to side with you. But what about the cases where the parent knows their child underage is armed?
There should be some type of responsibility, you know, or accountability for that, I would say. But it's just such a fine line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always such a fine line.
Let me ask it to you this way. At what age do you think a law-abiding citizen should be able to legally obtain a firearm?
I would say if they're old enough to go to war, they're old enough to buy a weapon.
But you do realize when you go to war, they train you first. They don't let you roam around with the gun on your own.
No, of course. There should be some training involved. Of course, you know, like they have now. You know, there's training that they have to take.
No. There is no, wait a minute. I don't believe there's a state in the union where you're required to have mandatory training that you're accountable for. They may make you go to a class, but even if you're not paying attention at all, even if you were to fail every question that someone asked in reference to that test, you'll still get the gun. So there is no official training for owning a firearm in America.
I think if anything, there should be more of a mental test. You know what I mean? The state of mind of where they're at, and that would be more important, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, when they should have a psychological test on there. You know what I mean?
I get you. Do you think 15 is mature enough to pass that psychological exam to own a firearm?
No. 18.
18. Okay. All right, well, that's what happened in this case. If a 15-year-old had his mom buy. What about parents who keep unlocked firearms in the house? If their child get access to that gun, even though the parents didn't intend, but if the child knows their dad keeps an AR on the closet shelf or a shotgun under the couch pillow, and that child gets access to it and goes out and commit mayhem, should the parents be responsible?
Again, there's a fine line. You know what I mean? It's hard to say because, you know, what we should be looking at is what are the schools doing that is causing this issue? We should find the root of the problem instead of being how would you say? We should be proactive instead of waiting for something to happen and then attack the situation.
Well, here's a problem, and I agree with your suggestion of being proactive. However, the sticking point is folks can't decide what being proactive is. Folks on the left believe
talking about the schools.
Well, same thing. Folks on the left believe that being proactive means removing guns out of the path of children to begin with. They don't believe guns in society is a good idea. Folks on the right believe that self-responsibility, if a person wants a machine gun, they should be able to have one, and they should not be forced to keep it locked up.
Well, the thing is about the Second Amendment, the reason that was created for was to protect ourselves from the possibility of a tyrannical government. Period. That's it.
Do you really believe that?
Yeah. Look at what happened in Russia. Look what happened in China. Look what happened in all these countries where as soon as they took their guns away, there was genocide because the people couldn't protect themselves.
Okay, let me ask you this. How long have we had the right to bear arms in this country?
Since its existence.
Exactly. Yet we've had slavery, we've had women's oppression, we've had Jim Crow, lack of civil rights for a large portion of the citizenry, except for white men, predominantly those who own property. Wouldn't you suggest that we've had tyranny the whole damn time?
Yes, but we haven't had genocide.
What's the difference between slavery and genocide? We're talking tyranny. That's just a more harsh level of tyranny. You don't need genocide to have tyranny, do you?
No, but you don't have to have genocide to have tyranny either. You know what I mean? It goes both ways.
Let me rephrase it just to make sure we got clarity. If you enslave the people of a country, is that not a tyrannical government?
Yes.
So we've been tyrannical even with the Second Amendment from day one, according to you.
Correct. But there hasn't been genocide. There hasn't been. Come on.
So
think about it.
Okay, so what you're saying?
They don't attack. The reason they don't do that, the reason they don't go and start rounding up people like that is because they know the citizens are armed. So that's why they don't do it. I think they would have done it.
So what you're saying is guns prevent genocide, but they don't prevent slavery.
Well, it all depends on who believes that they're being enslaved or not. You know, a lot of people are fooled.
Do you think there's any part of American history where people...
We're enslaved now. Is what I'm saying. We're enslaved. Look at our tax dollars that they take. They take our income. They take 80% of our income. They take it from the income when they take it right off the check, right off the top. And then everything that we buy, the house tax here, tax there, tax there. By the time you finish spending your weekly or bi-weekly check, you've already given 80% of your money in taxes that isn't going to us, it's going to other countries.
So do you believe overtaxation is tyranny?
I think it's enslavement.
Okay, do you think enslavement is tyranny?
It depends, because Wait,
hold on. Give me your definition of tyranny, because I'm baffled. Give me what is tyranny to you?
A government that does what they want without taking into accountability what the people need.
You're talking about go give that argument to a black man. Does that not qualify in regards to what was done to black people for most of America's history? Government that does whatever they need.
Pretty much whatever they want. You're saying they're not. Well, they were still providing for the white people, but not for the black men.
So is it safe to say that America has been tyrannical, according to your definition, from day one, even with the Second Amendment in place?
Partially, because they enslaved only the blacks, not the whites.
What about the women that couldn't vote, couldn't own a business, couldn't have a checking account? Do they count? White women, do they count?
That's just a right. It's a specific right. It's not an actual broad thing where it's men too, and then they're not all. But they were still able to roam around and do whatever they please, other than just vote and/or.
Wait a minute. You said they were able to roam around and do whatever they please, other than just vote. Keep going. What else you
saying? To the black man or the black woman, you know what I'm saying?
The white woman too. You're saying a white woman that could not own property, could not own a check account, could not work in most professional institutions. We're talking about white women as well. You're telling me even though she couldn't do any of that, she wasn't a victim of tyranny?
Well, see, here's the other thing on that too. The whole reason of this women's liberation was because they said, hey, you know what? We're already taxing the man in the house.
You didn't answer my question. You're not answering my question. Was that tyranny?
No, it wasn't, because this is why. Did the white women have the same restrictions as the black man and the black woman?
The white man is being treated better than everybody else, but you're saying all of these folks that are being treated worse are not the victim of tyranny.
No, what I'm saying is this. Were they still under the same restrictions that a black man and a black woman had?
Some of the restrictions were there.
Which ones?
They can't do any damn thing other than they don't have to stay on the plantation. Other than that, if your husband beats your ass, there's very little recourse, even if you're a white woman. You don't see no tyranny in that at all.
I'm not saying it's not so much tyranny.
Why are you hesitant? What?
It's a way of life, and at the same time, ignorance. It's more ignorance. I don't think it was intentionally done. It was due to ignorance.
Okay, so you don't think taking away a woman's right to do virtually anything she wanted to do independent of her husband, that's ignorance. That ain't tyranny. That's just kind of ignorance.
It's more ignorance than anything, because they weren't understanding that everybody should be equally treated.
Why weren't they understanding that?
They still have that caveman mentality.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Then you really confused me on what tyranny means, but I do appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back. Just another number. I do got to move it on. Thank you for coming through.
Okay, thank you. You have a good one. You take care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Now, looking in the comments, now, folks, tyranny does have a different definition to some people. There you go. As I always say, we don't block, ban, or censor. So understand, you're likely to hear opinions that you may favor or some you may completely disagree with. That's how we run the show. It's all about free speech. We don't limit your time or your opinion simply because we disagree. It's not about that. Looking in the comments. And by the way, smash that like button, my YouTubers and TikTok. You know what I always ask. Tap the screen, helps out the algorithm. Program will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are always the preferred guest. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome. Bro, does somebody like this guy here? I don't quite get that comment on YouTube, but it says love the hat. Fair enough. Real quick in the comments on TikTok. That was a waste of everybody's time, says Brownsbacker. Why is it a waste of everybody's time? When you go to vote in November, That gentleman may be behind you. His vote is just as valuable in that election as yours. Whether you agree with what he's voting for, whether you agree with what he said, when it comes to the election, when it comes to selecting our next commander-in-chief and all of the other lower officers, his vote is just as valuable as yours. So I want to hear his conversation, just like I would want to hear yours. Looking in the comments, I got my ballot today. It's kind of early, ain't it? It's kind of early. Looking in the comments, going back to the box, or going back to the comments section, we'll start it out with Electric Wolf 45, a friend of the program, talking about Trump's immunity case meeting the dead end so far, and we're talking about moms of mass shooters being actually held accountable. Dad is coming up next. Electric Wolf, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, I was looking for you, but it's good to have you back on. So, Trump does not have immunity, says the lower court. What say you?
Well, I mean, that's fine by me. I mean, they'll take it to the Supreme Court and hopefully they'll knock it down. But them telling him that he doesn't have immunity, that means George Bush doesn't, neither does Clinton, neither does Obama and all that, and then you can go after him for that.
Okay, well,
I mean, that's the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
So what are you suggesting, that if Trump doesn't get immunity, but he actually beats his case, if he becomes president, he's going to go after Bush and Obama and all the other people?
No, I'm not saying Trump. I'm saying people. Governments can go after Obama. Governments can go after George Bush. Remember when they tried to arrest Karl Rove?
Yeah.
For crimes against humanity and stuff like that. It's like I say, man. Liberals and Democrats play really loose with the law when it's their fault.
But wait, hold on. But Wolf, you're doing something that Trump. It's common for Trump to say this too, that the liberals are after him and things like that. You do realize just about all of the folks that are taking immunity deals and going like Mark Meadows and these are Republicans. Wolf, you're talking about Mike Pence.
And I'm not saying Trump. What I'm saying is, it's like, what is that vote that they took for the justices? Like when they got 3 people on the Supreme Court because for Trump, right? Yeah. And Mitch McConnell, it was only a majority of 30. Before, it was a larger majority. Remember that?
Yeah. You're talking about
but who changed that?
The Democrats. Okay,
the Democrats changed it. And what did they tell them when they changed it? You guys are going to come and regret the decisions that you guys are making because you're trying to force an issue that shouldn't be, but you want it this way and you want to play this way. Remember, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And sure as shit, it bit them in the ass. And we got 3 conservative Supreme Court justices because of that.
Yeah. So do you think at the end of the day, because we do now have 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, 3 being appointed by Trump, do you think they will likely grant him immunity? Because that's the only.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not because Trump appointed them. It's because they're conservative, and in my opinion, most of the time, conservatives actually interpret the Constitution the way it should be. And the thing is, hopefully they'll say no, and then George Bush, Obama, and all the other presidents will be able to breathe a sigh of relief because they don't think they play in a little world where they think they're screwing Trump. And they think we're going to get him one way or another and stuff like that, because I personally think he's being persecuted, but that's just me. But the thing is, they think they're living in Trump's little world, but they don't see that they're affecting other presidents as well.
Yeah. Well, let me make something clear. Even though there may be some validity to what you're saying about it could open up Bush and Obama to charge, I don't think anybody's going to go after them. It would be just like if.
Well, see, that's not the point, though. That's the thing. They're open to it. What if a crazy-ass country turns around and says, you know what? We want them for this law, and then they end up going to court, and then they end up extraditing one of our. It's an extreme, but they extradite one of our presidents. Okay. I don't give a shit if it's Obama or Bush. I'm going to defend them as much as I can for them not to do it. But because of the law that they did with Trump, because they got Trump, Well,
let me just respond by saying this. It appears that the justice system, our courts, are willing to take that risk. Maybe you're right about Obama or Bush or somebody else, things coming up, but it appears that our justice system believes that Trump is accountable for his actions, and they want to hold him accountable to the point where.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's because they just don't like Trump. The thing is, they're short-sighted. It's very short-sighted. But hey, do what you want to do. I mean, that's fine. I mean, you want to prove that he incited riots and all. He didn't, but I mean, go ahead and prove it. But the thing is, the justice system is showing how biased it is.
Let me throw that back at you in regards to suggesting that if they go after Trump, they're opening up this precedent for future and former presidents to pay the price. How do you respond? How would you respond to someone suggesting that if you let Trump get away for January 6th because he's not responsible for people doing whatever they want to do, even though he's not necessarily telling them the truth, or you don't have proof that he was telling them the truth about Stop the Steal, you're opening up the door for future presidents to just claim an election was stolen and lead to more actions like January 6th.
But you've had that. You've had people bitch about
Wolf.
Stuff like that.
Wolf, wait, hold on.
No, but you're going
Wolf, wait a minute, Wolf. What happened on January 6th was way more than people just bitching about an election.
That's all it was.
Really?
That's all it was.
Let's go to the Capitol building.
Trump did not. Trump. You're saying, oh, if we let Trump off of this, assuming that he's guilty, he's not. He didn't have anything to do with it. He had a speech. He said, let's go protest. You had, no matter who it was, you had people that went off the reservation and they went nuts and they shouldn't have, and they did some things they shouldn't have done. I agree. They want to put them in jail. They want to do that. Of course, they're doing it excessively. Again, beside the point. What I'm saying is Trump had nothing to do with it. Maxine Waters tried to incite more people to go and do damage to people at restaurants, in public, and don't let them be seen in daylight, things like that. I mean, she did the same thing. So did Chuck Schumer. So did all these people. But then they turn around and they call, oh, well, it's just political talk.
But let me make clear, when Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer were doing that stuff, Trump was president. And you can't how you want to go after them because they're going after you. If you thought it was wrong, you should have went after him then. Let me also, hang on. Let me follow up by saying, so I think this is kind of funny, and I'll let you continue on. But on YouTube, someone said, can you teach me how to talk like that so white people can trust me too? What am I talking?
I don't know if that's a bash to you or me.
I don't know. All right, so Chuck Schumer, Maxine Waters, I agree, particularly Maxine Waters talked about getting up in people's face and things like that. I think she said.
And so did Obama.
Yeah, but Trump literally led them to your face.
He didn't lead them. I mean, you see that you're just going with your idea. He didn't lead them. He wasn't in front of the pack. He told them, protest peacefully and let your voice be heard. Punto. End of story.
Let me ask you,
That's it.
Do you think they would have even went to the Capitol building if Trump didn't tell them to go there?
Well, no. But he was telling them we're going to peacefully protest. There's nothing wrong with peacefully protesting. People get out of hand. Look at the riots during BLM. Look at the George Floyd riots, which, side note, Trump was upset about George Floyd dying too, and he found it very disturbing and thought they should be prosecuted. That's another story for another time, just letting you know. But I mean, everything got out of hand. But the problem is that January 6th people got busted. They got arrested. They got looked over. But the BLM people didn't do nothing.
Wait, you're saying that on January 6th things got out of hand?
Yeah.
Then why is Trump referring to January 6th as a good day, a love fest?
Well, because a lot of people showed up. But the thing is, people showed their anger, and some people went too far with their anger that they showed. But the thing is, I understand where he's coming. He wasn't saying, oh, we should have destroyed the whole place. No. The thing is he says people were more upset than the people in actual government that were. But again,
well, let me rephrase it.
That the election was stolen.
Let me rephrase it. In regards to suggesting that some, not all, some people did get out of hand on January 6th. Did anything happen to the people that got out of hand on January 6th?
Do I think what?
Did anything happen to the group of people that you do believe got out of hand on January 6th? Were any of them held accountable?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them went to jail.
Okay, so the ones that are in jail, why do you think Trump is making songs with them, calling them hostages, talking about pardoning them? Has he said anything negative about the people you admit got out of hand?
No, because of the fact that they're going after people and overcharging them, and that's the problem.
So
the thing is, if you want to get them for trespassing, go ahead. If you want to get them even for assault, if you want to get them for simple assault, whatever, go ahead. But I mean, treason, insurrection. None of them been for insurrection, but they're all this stuff all these charges that they're putting on them and then giving them the max and all these years and stuff. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. When someone burns down a Wendy's, they shoot a little girl in the head. All sorts of stuff happened. You burned all this property, and they got away with what? Nothing.
But why is that, Wolf? The summer of 2020, when the George Floyd protests were at their peak, who was president during the time when nobody got charged?
Trump. But the thing is, what about the people in the cities, the mayors and all that? They were letting them do it, and they were Democrats.
All right, then. So if the cities dropped the ball on the Black Lives Matter protest, in your opinion, then why are you complaining that when the feds go after Trump, you're bringing up Black Lives Matter when you're admitting that's a city issue? That ain't got nothing to do with the...
Okay, Washington's a territory issue, and Mayor Bowser should be held accountable. How's that?
You're already holding her accountable because you suggest she was the one that was supposed to sit in the National Guard.
That bitch didn't even want to put troops in there, and Trump offered it to her, and she said, no, stick it up your ass.
Why would you need troops
but no one's holding her accountable.
Why would you need troops for a love fest?
Well, he wanted to be careful. He wanted to take precautions. What an asshole. Really?
Okay. So, in other words, Trump showed up on January 6th. By the way, he was still president of the country at that time.
Yes, he was.
He didn't get the troops that he wanted, according to the mayor. If your point is correct, once that chaos happened, he still was president. Why didn't he hold the mayor accountable?
I don't know, because he was too busy defending himself, I guess. I would have.
So he can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time or something?
Well, the thing is, I don't think that they even thought of that. But I would have. He was complaining about all these towns that were burning down and shit like that, and it was local government that dropped the ball. He should have blamed Mayor Bowser.
Well,
that's her fault.
And that's his fault for not following through on it, right?
Well, he dropped the ball on that, yeah.
Okay.
But he shouldn't be impeached. He shouldn't be thrown in jail for it either, because he didn't think of blaming the broad that's in charge.
Okay.
Come on.
So if he shouldn't be impeached, any idea, in your opinion, why the Speaker of the House, Mitch McConnell, stated after helping Trump survive the impeachment? Mitch McConnell, leader of the Senate at the time, helped Trump survive the impeachment and stated out in open, he hasn't gotten away with anything. There's nothing he did that you can't still charge him criminally for. Mitch McConnell leading the way for Jack Smith. Why would he do that?
Because he opens the door for him because he hated Trump. We all know that.
You think Mitch McConnell hated Trump?
Mitch McConnell couldn't stand Trump. Are you kidding me? He's pissed off because Trump made him work and start appointing judges, because he was trying to poke ass as a typical politician, and he said, it takes a long time to do this. And then he tweeted out and talked shit about him and said, no, it doesn't. You're just lazy. And boom, there they go.
So
all the judges that he wanted.
So if all of the liberals, in your opinion, do not like Trump, and the leader of the Senate and many other Republican senators do not like Trump, if he's reelected, how can he be effective? Nobody's going to work with him. According to you.
I think they're going to start working with him, because now everybody sees through all these politicians. That's the thing. I think they're going to have to, whether they like it or not. They're going to start working with. I guarantee you, if McConnell's still in there and not on replay and stuff like that, or on pause, I guarantee you McConnell's going to be kissing his ass, doing whatever he needs, because of the fact he wants to secure his legacy, and he's not going to run again for office.
Yeah, well,
because he knows Trump's going to go against him.
All right, well, I do got to move it on. Mitch McConnell's job is secure until 2026, so he would be in power for 2 more years of the Trump presidency if that happens. But in terms of legacy, I'm just going to tell you, you may not like this, maybe you disagree, and that's fine, but I don't know if securing yourself to Trump or locking yourself to Trump is going to be good or bad for your legacy, because we know what happened.
I'm locking my legacy with Trump, bro.
All right.
Let me tell you, it's going to be good stuff.
All right.
And I missed you, and I'm glad you got to go to Mexico and be recognized. That's pretty cool.
Hey, appreciate it. Anytime, Electric Wolf, always a friend of the program. Good talk.
Trump 2024, don't forget.
Good luck. Good luck. All right, going back to the box. And you'll be the first one to go. I don't quite get that one in the comments bar. A mayor cannot override a presidential order in regards to the National Guard. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not in that atmosphere. It's way above my low-ass pay grade. So when I watched the January 6th hearings, if they suggest it wasn't Nancy Pelosi's job, certainly not the mayor of D.C.'s job to provide the National Guard, who am I to tell them they don't know what the hell they're talking about? So as far as I'm concerned, me and my last caller, we don't agree on that. So what? We don't agree on a lot. But yeah, I don't see the mayor being responsible for providing the National Guard. However, if Trump wanted the National Guard to be present there that day, I say this on every conversation where this comes up, you don't continue to party if the DJ is not there. If you throw a party, you show up, the DJ is not there. The first thing you need to do is be on the phone asking, "Where's my DJ?" Because this is going to be a boring ass party without it. If Trump knew the National Guard was not present there that day and he had asked and he felt they were absolutely needed, there should be a host of records showing he was constantly asking over and over again about security and didn't get it. I don't think that's ever going to come up. In addition to the fact of this huge gap in time where apparently Chris Christie's own daughter, Mike Pence, and all of them are testifying that they were begging him to intervene, ask the folks to stop or something of that nature, and he didn't even respond. All Republicans, by the way, none of those were liberals. Going back to the box, folks on YouTube, wow, somebody sent me a super chat on YouTube. I did not see that, but Big Rooster Show. Thank you. I do want to show appreciation for that. Well, that sounds confused. He's usually on his game. Big Rooster, I don't know what you're talking about, but clear that up. Let me know. Going back to the box. Trump orchestrated the insurrection. Well, until he's convicted of it, it's only an allegation. Going straight back to the box, we're going to go to George Horge, if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. Good afternoon, welcome to the program. Two subjects, by the way. We had a mom of a mass shooter giving 4 guilty verdicts of manslaughter. So now she's facing 15 years in prison times 4 for each one of the victims her child took out. Do you think it sets a new precedent? Do you think the mom actually is culpable, and would you have sided with the jury, rendering her guilty verdicts? George, good afternoon. Whoa, thank you. Andy, appreciate that. Good afternoon, George.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I do agree with the verdict because the mom knew that this kid had mental issues that were well established, and she actually took him to the gun range like a few days prior to the mass incident. So I think that when the father goes on trial like next month, it's gonna be the same thing.
I gotta say that father hearing those guilty verdicts, even though he's not sitting there, that had to feel like daggers to the heart, because he already knows if mom goes down, dad's in trouble too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do agree with it, and I think it sets a new precedent. As far as these mass incidents, are concerned. If it's a minor, and I think this kid was only like 17 when this happened.
Well, she bought him the gun for his 15th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you what I asked the last caller. At what age do you believe a law-abiding citizen should be able to obtain a firearm legally?
Barring no mental issues or previous.
Well, let's first address the elephant in the room. Having mental issues is not likely to come up unless you do something wrong with the gun. I mean, how many Americans are on mental health medication? Zoloft, you name it, Xanax, whatever the hell they're taking, and there's no hindrance for them getting guns.
Right. Well, in this case, the kid had a history of mental illness. But anyway, but as far as a grown person, I think at least, well, I say 21 to 25. I don't think an 18-year-old should be able to do that. Yeah.
So how do you respond to folks who would suggest, if I can send my child off to war where they'll be handed weapons, why can't they buy a weapon?
There's a good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to bring up. But then, can you drink at under 21?
No, that's true. That is true. And that's really weird that they don't trust you with a beer, but they would trust you with an AR-15. I don't quite get. You're too young for a beer, but you can go out here and take a few shots with me. You can't take a couple shots of Jack Daniels, but you can take a couple shots at Jack Daniels. I don't understand that. That makes no sense at all.
I don't either. Who knows? I just think it's really messed up. I think that in this particular case, though, I think that the jury was spot on, and I think that the father should get the same punishment when he goes on trial in March.
Now, each one of those guilty verdicts for each of the 4 victims carries a charge up to 15 years, which could total 60. How long would you put that mom in jail if it was up to you?
The thing about her, if you saw her on the stand, she showed no remorse whatsoever, and she said she would do the same thing over again. So I think she should get the max.
Damn, that's the rest of her life. That is you would give her a life sentence, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you hear her testimony? She showed no remorse, and she said she would do it over again if she had the chance.
Wow, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. And in regards to, in the comments, somebody said, who are we discussing? We're discussing the mom that was convicted yesterday. Her child committed a mass shooting, I think in 2021, purchased a firearm for him for his 15th birthday. And he was drawing pictures of shooting people and reaching out for help, letting his parents know he was hearing voices and things like that. And the mom really did it. Virtually none. I think she even laughed at it at one point, didn't she? And and he went to school and took out 4 of his classmates. That's what we're discussing. So at the end of the day, if you were on a jury, you would have given a guilty verdict. If you're on a sentencing side of it, you would also give the max.
Yeah, simply because she showed no remorse, and she said she would do it all over again.
Wow. What if dad shows remorse? Would you do the same for dad? What if dad got up there knowing what happened to mom, comes in the courtroom crying before the verdict even shit. I mean, you done already took mom out completely, so I'm showing up in tears. Would you give the same sentence?
If he truly shows some remorse, and it's all about accountability. This is your minor child that you're in charge of. If he was driving a car and got into a wreck, who would be responsible? Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you do believe remorse matters. So you're saying if the dad shows some remorse, you might be more lenient.
If I was on the jury and I saw the dad show some remorse, I would probably cut him a little bit of slack. Yeah. All right.
Well, if anybody know that dad, make sure you hear this, because you see what happened to mom. Make sure dad shows up in tears, brings an extra bottle of Kleenex, and has wet eyes throughout the trial. Appreciate you coming on, George. I do got to move it on.
All right.
Good talk.
All right. See you later.
All right. Yeah, I'm coming to that motherfucker in tears. I'm crying my ass off after hearing something like that. I'm actually on TV crying just hearing him make that description just for practice. So get in the comments. I think mom tried to be his friend instead of parent. Never should have given him a gun. And listen, I'm going to, before I go back to the box, and I appreciate you folks tapping the screen, my YouTubers, and absolutely thanks for that super chat, by the way. You YouTubers certainly smashed that like button. I really think that that's one of the issues with our society, and that's in reference to, I can't read the name, but the comment about being a child's friend instead of their parent. When we grew up, we knew who represented the subordinate and who represented the leader. There was no question. We knew growing up, most of us did, I'm going to assume, that we were not the friends of our parents. What mom and dad said, it goes even if you think it's the dumbest thing you've ever heard of. You never challenged your parents, challenged their authority. Nowadays they do. Nowadays, we let children make their own decisions, and we see with the lack of maturity, they often make the wrong ones. That didn't happen back in the day. Do as I say, not as I do. You don't have the option to negotiate with your mom or dad growing up in the 60s, 70s, 80s. This stuff they're doing now, I don't get it. I really don't get it, but maybe that's me. I understand counselors and all of these other folks believe that spanking, corporal or capital punishment, corporal punishment, you don't want to kill your kid, corporal punishment is bad for development. That's what they tell us. Putting your hands on your children is bad for development. Well, here I am. I got the shit beat out of me when I was a kid. My dad was a Marine straight out of Vietnam. If I didn't listen, it hurt. Didn't take away toys. Didn't make me go to the corner and stare at a wall. I held my ass because it was sore. And till my dad's dying day, nothing but respect. My dad was a small guy. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. I still respected that guy as if he could whoop my ass. That's what happens when you recognize who's in charge. We've lost that now. Going back to the box, I got the frying pan once. You might be, someone in the comments said I got the frying pan once. You might be the reason we got all these you can't touch your kid laws. I think that's going above and beyond. And I grew up oftentimes in the projects where they gave these really thick cast iron skillets. That's a weapon. That's a weapon. So I don't think you should hit your kids with a frying pan, but I do appreciate the comment. Wow. Going back to the box, Moo, the one and only Tuxedo Cat. Good afternoon, Moo. Wow, frying pan. Shit. Moo, good afternoon. Did you get spanked as a kid, Moo?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Not much at all. Now,
Yeah.
Trump's immunity case looks like it's running into a dead end. Any chance the SCOTUS will save him?
Yeah. No, man, because a dictator has no reason for a Supreme Court, right? So in their own self-interest, they're probably not even going to hear that case, to be honest with you, man.
No,
Just say, no, we're not going to bother.
Now, I know exactly what you're saying, but for the studio audience at home, you stated a dictator does not need a Supreme Court. So they're acting in their own behalf. I want you to elaborate on that.
Sure. So Trump wants to be a dictator, right? He wants to rule with an iron fist. He doesn't want to have to answer to a Senate. He doesn't want to have to answer to a Congress, period. He doesn't want to have to answer to a Supreme Court. He will eliminate those branches of government. And why would the Supreme Court help him do that? Why would they make them lose their own jobs? That makes no sense. Right?
You know what? And I'm not going to come at it from the dictatorship side, but I will say, take the dictatorship argument out. Trump is still, even without the dictatorship claim, promising to get rid of most of the Senate, get rid of most of Congress. So I kind of wonder even now why a lot of them are siding with Trump when he's telling everybody none of y'all can be trusted. You're all swamp creatures and you need to go. Why are they still running with him?
Well, that's what they want, dude. So MAGA wants a dictator, right? They're cucks for Trump. They do anything he says. They're not politically savvy. They don't know anything about politics. All they know is what he tells them. So they go off of that. They're in it for Trump. They don't care about America. They don't care about policy. They just want him to go after the things that.
Wait. You saying something?
That's why they're for Trump.
Hold on, wait a minute. You just said MAGA does not care about America. All I see is American flags. So what do they say? All we see is American flags. Why are you saying MAGA doesn't care about America?
First of all they talk about is respecting the flag. Meanwhile, they'll wear flag underwear, getting their nutsack sweat all over it, right? And they're disrespecting the flag left and right, wearing shirts, getting armpit sweat on it, getting dirt on it, their flag pants. So they don't care about the flag. They don't care about the country. They're just full of it, man. The only thing they care about is for Trump to go after the things that they don't like. That's all they want. There is nothing beyond that. It's all very shallow.
Well, but at the same time, a lot of folks suggest that it is the Democrats that does not care about the country because they're letting everybody in through the border, and who's going to save the border? MAGA. So they have the opposite view. They believe the Democrats are the ones that don't care about this country.
Okay, well then I guess guess the Republicans should vote for that border bill then, if they actually give a shit about the border, right? They give a shit so much about the border that they're letting a Republican border bill go. Why? Because Daddy Trump said so. Daddy Trump told us not to vote for this, and we are cucks for Trump. So Daddy Trump says, and we do.
Wow. You know, that's one thing we talked about yesterday. I still don't get why, but I guess you're kind of explaining it with the suggestion that they're doing it for Trump. I don't get why you would help draft a bill that gives you most of the things you asked for.
Look at the MAGA saying in chat the bills. Y'all don't know shit about the bill, man. Stop acting like y'all know about the bill. Seriously, chat. Cut it out, man. MAGA, y'all don't know shit about the bill. Stop saying that shit. Seriously.
Well, and let me say this, because on YouTube, Chris is saying the bill sucks. The bill was drafted by Republicans. Even if the bill sucks, you can look at the bill and tell, with the exception of the Ukraine and the 8,000 immigrant number, most of that was drafted by the Republicans. So your Saturday Owl drafted a bill that you think sucks. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's their bill. Dude, this is a total gift for Republicans. It's literally everything they ever wanted about the border, and the only reason they're turning it down is, again, their daddy told them to, because that's what they're about, my dude. They're not about policy. They don't actually care about the border. Everything they tell you when it comes to policy is bullshit and gaslighting, okay?
But
all they care about is Trump going after the people they don't like.
Well, it's interesting now you're saying that they don't care about policy, but I have to push back. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to four. Hold on, I am about to do that. Get your guy up to about 45,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy on TikTok. YouTubers certainly smash that like button. I do appreciate it. Now, when you say they don't care much about policy, the number one accolade, compliment folks give Trump often is, I like his policies.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, yeah, I mean, I can say that too, right? I mean, I'm gaslighting you. I can tell you anything. That doesn't mean it's true or have any substance behind it. They can never name any policies they actually like. I mean, maybe they can say, well, he got rid of Roe versus Wade, but that's not really a policy. That's getting rid of policy, right? That's not making policy. That's undoing policy, and that backfired in their faces anyway.
But Moo, the policy could be protecting the life of the unborn child.
You're protecting the life of the unborn clump of cells, right? Because no one offs a baby, right? Even with Roe versus Wade, the time limits weren't even within baby range because, again, they want to be scientifically accurate when it comes to being a man or a woman, but they don't want to be scientifically accurate in the differences between a fetus and a baby. Again, they don't care about facts, science, or anything that's actual reality. All they care about is their own bullshit.
Well, I think that's kind of how it works on both sides. But I want to ask you in regards to this.
Nah, not at all.
Wait. You don't think the liberals have the same mindset where they only care about their own bullshit in many cases?
Well, in some cases, sure, but not when it comes to abortion, right? When it comes to abortion, Republicans are taking away rights, and Democrats are trying to give people rights. So, yeah, when it comes to that, absolutely, no, they're not the same.
No, I don't disagree with you about the way you orated it, taking away rights and giving rights, but it goes back down to the case of, or the question of, does an unborn child have any rights at all?
So, no, we're talking about a fetus. A fetus is not human, so no, it has no rights.
Okay, so
we're talking about a baby.
So even if I'm gonna give you an extreme case. I understand. I'm not going to go Ron DeSantis and make it sound like this happens a lot. But even in an extreme case, do you think a 7 or 8 month old fetus has rights?
Do I think a 7th or 8th month old fetus has rights? So at that point, I don't believe it's a fetus anymore. I believe at that point it's actually called a baby scientifically. So yeah, it would be entitled to certain rights at that point. And also in that case, you would only want to abort that baby at that point if it's an endangerment to the mother.
So let me present it this way. At what stage of pregnancy do you believe it should be outlawed to have an abortion simply because you want to have one? Not because the mom's life is at risk or she's been raped or it's a case of incest. But if a mom just simply decided, look, I got a great job, I need to get, not be pregnant for this. At what point should it be illegal for her to have an abortion?
I mean, I would go by Roe versus Wade. It was good enough for years. It's good enough, period. I would go by all the time limits that Roe versus Wade had. I would just bring that right on back because it was fine and dandy, no problems there, and we're good to go.
All right, so essentially there is no limitation on it with Roe versus Wade, is there?
I believe there is. I would have to review the.
No, I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain under the old rules, a late-term abortion was legal. I mean, there are places that, I mean, it's like I said, it's not normal. It's not normal.
There's definitely time limits in there. I don't want to say anything inaccurate because I don't know the exact time limits that are in that, but there are time limits in there. Yeah.
I'd have to look that up. Okay, all right, fair enough. So in regards to the other topic, I just want to get your take on this. Moms gives her 15-year-old firearm and he goes off and offs 4 of his students. Do you think that mom should be held accountable, or is this, listen, we got a rogue child? It's not, I didn't know.
Yeah, she can't walk, right? Because she's partially responsible for not helping her son, right? So she needs to do some time. She doesn't deserve life in prison, right? Because lots of people have shitty parents, and that doesn't just mean you can go unaliving people, right? Even if the kid did have problems, he still has to be held accountable. And she has accountability in there too. Would I put her in prison for life? No, that's kind of out there. But yeah, she deserves to have some jail time.
All right, 10 years?
Oh, I would say more 5. 5 is probably good enough.
Wow, that's 4
And
deaths.
He should be in a mental. He should be in a mental facility. He should not go to jail. Jail's not going to help him. It's only going to make him more of a criminal, more violent, probably escalate any mental problems he may already have.
So if you so if you send him to a mental facility and they can straighten him out mentally, you're suggesting that one day he may possibly be able to get out.
If he can viably, heal,
That's
possibly. I mean, there are plenty of other countries that rehabilitate people who commit murder and let them back out on the street. That is not something that's unheard of. It's just unheard of here because we lock up more people than anywhere else in the entire world. And our prison systems suck. It doesn't reform anyone.
I mean, think about it though, Moo. This guy is not even 20 years. I think he was 15 when he got the gun, and he did the killings pretty soon after. 2020. So
he has his whole life ahead of him.
Right. So if you send him to a mental facility before he's even 20, there's a real good chance you could have a 30-year-old mass killer walking around free. You're okay with that?
Well. So I can assure you if he goes to prison that you're going to have a 30-year-old mass killer walking around free, because they probably won't give him life in jail. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I don't know what's going to happen.
He's in without parole. But, he's already in without the
parole. All right, well, then I guess he's screwed, right? He doesn't get any other chances, and he's done, just like most people in this country. So it is what it is.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I get clarity, because you were starting to say other countries, and you are correct. Other countries, like Norway, I think there was a guy who killed like 70 kids or something like that. I think they're massive.
I mean, Iceland has a good prison system. They have been able to rehabilitate people who commit murder. It happens all over the world. It's not very uncommon. It's just uncommon here.
Yeah, I think in Norway the max is 20 years, no matter what the crime is. The max you can get is 20 years. And this guy took out like dozens of kids, which is why they took guns away in Norway. But max 20 years, that's the max he can get. I mean, so I don't know. The United States may have a bad incarceration problem, but I don't know about letting mass murderers get out.
I mean, it's a gamble, you know what I mean? But again, probably not great in this country because our he belongs in a mental facility that has comprehensive care, right? Because the kid obviously has mental issues, right? But unfortunately, the Republicans did a lot to decimate our mental health care system. So we may not even be equipped to handle someone with these kinds of problems at this point.
But let me just say this. Let me just say this before I let you go. If you go out and commit a mass casualty event, some folks don't care if you did it intentionally or if you did it because you're mental. They want you in the ground. They don't want you being rehabilitated. They want that guy in the ground. That's where I think most. So that's the difference, I think.
I hope it's never one of their relatives that's in that position, because like Republicans always do, when it's one of their people, then it's a problem. Then I care, right? All of a sudden, it's my uncle, it's my aunt, it's my brother. Oh, well, now I have a change of opinion because it affects someone I know, someone I love, but I don't care about other people. But now that it's affecting me personally, now I give a shit. That's the Republican way.
And that would be crack versus the opioid epidemic. All right, Moo, I do appreciate you coming on. Good talk as always.
You have a good one, man.
You too. Looking in the comment section, always blame the Republicans. Listen, it's a political forum. I get your point. That is what tends to happen when speaking to someone who leans left. I'll get somebody who leans right and say the same thing in the opposite. Who does Trump always blame? Anytime Trump is charged with a crime or someone suggests he needs to be charged with a crime, it's the liberals weaponizing the justice system. Damn the fact that most of the folks that are testifying against him used to work for him, used to have an R behind their name, talking about folks like McCarthy or talking about folks like Mike Pence or Mark Meadows, for instance. Mark Meadows, Mike Pence, Jim Barr, Attorney General Barr, or whatever the case may be. All these folks used to work for Trump. They're not liberals. So I do get your point. It's well taken. Folks blame the other side, but that's not going to change if I get a slew of Republicans on the program. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 55,000. You know what we always do. Program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. For folks that are watching initial time, first time, understand we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So you're going to hear comments left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. We're all about free speech here, so we don't limit anybody. And by the way, if you do enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host censoring, limiting, or banning you, follow the program. For you YouTubers, feel free to drop a subscription. We're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Going back to the box. Rolling down the hill, can't stop, no brakes. Good afternoon, welcome to the program. We're talking about Trump's immunity case hitting a brick wall. No brakes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm hoping to get immunity. Maybe you can help me out. What do you think about Trump being told he's not entitled to immunity?
He can't have it, you know what I mean? He's not above the law. You know what I mean?
Did he break any laws? But did he break any laws?
Yeah, I believe he broke them.
Give me some examples. Give me some. What law did he break?
Okay, how about the taking the oh hell, you caught me. I'm stuttering. How about him taking the classified documents and not wanting to return them?
According to him, they were not classified, though.
He said they were classified, didn't he?
Well, he stated that as president, if you got them in your possession, they're not. He stated you could even think them into declassification.
Yeah, but he said that they were classified. He claimed them to be classified, and they're not getting them for the classification, Doc. You know, they're not charging him for that.
Right.
They're charging him for him not wanting to return them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
But let me, in regards to charging Trump for refusing to return the documents. How do you respond to folks who would suggest Biden has had documents in his possession that were classified since the disco era, and they're not charging him? Is Trump being treated unfairly?
There's two things I got to say. One is Nora. Where is Nora at when they were asking? Did they go and check and say, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Pence or Biden, you forgot to return these documents"? They waited 20 years. They waited 20 years until Biden was looking through his files. His secretary's looking through a file and said, "Oh, holy shit! Here's a document we ain't supposed to be having." And they called Nora.
But wouldn't that lead to the second question? How is it that you go after Trump for possession of documents barely a year after he's left office, but these other folks have kept documents for generations and you haven't touched them? Why all of a sudden are you going after Trump when you're letting these other folks get a pass?
If they're looking at what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Okay, you get somebody in there who didn't do their job right? Nora. They didn't do their job. Some old fart in there. He was busy Saturday and he didn't look at Pence's documents, right? So he goes on about his business. It gets through the time, it gets lost. Okay. Then you got somebody who is diligent about their job,
who wants to do their job. They go in there and find out that Trump has some documents missing on his watch. He says, hey, man, you got some documents that we need back.
But is it because they were being thorough in doing their job, or did they look at Trump because they were trying to target him when they were not trying to target Pence or Biden? All of a sudden, Trump, well, let's make sure there's nothing bad on Trump. Let's go looking through Trump.
But
they didn't.
If I come to you, say I come to you and I'm a cop and I come to you and I say, hey man, listen, we heard that there was a robbery down the street here.
Okay.
Right. Okay, and I come to you and I say, hey man, there's a robbery down the street here. Did you get any of this money? Did you pick up any of the bank money?
Okay.
And you say, none here, and then I walk away, and then I come back a day later, and your buddy's telling me, hey man, that dude's got the bank money. He looked at his, and then you go in there and there's the bank money. So that's the point. They didn't go after him if he would have came out straight up.
But then I gotta continue playing devil's advocate. Let's take your example. They came and asked me, there was a bank robbery down the street. Did you take any of the money? I said no. And then they later found out I had some. But my neighbor, Mr. Biden, and my neighbor down the street, Mr. Pence, they never went to their house and even asked them the same question, yet they got a whole vault full of money in their basement. Why am I being targeted?
Mr. Pence and Mr. Biden called me up and said, hey man, some of that money blew over here.
Is that how it happened?
You see what I'm saying? That's what I see about it. It's the content of shit. I can't spit the word out. It's the frame of the mind that Trump has. Trump says that's my shit.
Now, I do agree with you that Trump, once they came and asked him, do you got any money from the bank robbery? At that point, you should be smart enough to know they're owning my ass. Let me go hand him the money. Because he's being charged with obstruction, which means we know you got the money, but you won't go in your basement and hand it back over. We know you're lying about it. So I do agree that once they started going at him for obstruction, even his own lawyer testified that she told him, if you don't get these documents back, you're committing a crime, sir. And he even told his lawyer to F off, which is why the lawyer stopped working for him. But at the same time, you do understand that folks that favor Trump are going to bring up that both Pence and Biden had documents in their possession and they didn't get the same questioning that Trump got.
That's because when they found out that the documents were missing, they didn't even know the documents were missing. The way I understand it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe if they weren't so gung-ho to get Trump, they wouldn't have known Trump's documents were missing either. But because they're focusing on Trump.
Put it this way. I think that Trump took too many documents.
Oh.
If he would have took 3 or 4, say 20, I'd say
that's possible.
But if you take half the damn CIA agents' documents, they're going to say, there's some documents missing here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. See, we don't know, and that's another thing too. We don't know exactly how many documents Mike Pence or Biden took because they didn't make a spectacle of it. They took pictures all inside of Trump's house and shit. So, Biden had them in the garage next to the Corvette. We don't know the quantity though because they weren't plastering it all over television. I'm not saying Trump is innocent. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but the treatment leaves open for folks who favor Trump to ask, why is he being treated differently? You do understand that part, right?
Right. I understand the point, but you got to go back to what, like I said, if Trump would have said, okay, here's the documents, come here, get the shit, get it out of here. I don't want it. Just get it out of here. Go put it in my library or some shit, and done that, he wouldn't be charged for anything. They would let him go.
I don't disagree with that at all.
If you ask for it, as the old saying says, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Would you lock him up though? If now that they're on to him, you've taken the documents away by force through a federal search warrant. Do you think he deserves any time for that?
I really do, but I don't think they're going to give it to him. You know what I mean?
If it were up to you, would you lock up the former president?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There ain't no doubt.
No doubt. How long?
No doubt.
How long? He's 70, almost 80 years old.
Check his ass. Well, I don't know. You know, I don't know how long. How long did somebody else? How about that? How about the people that stole the shit before? You know, how long did they get?
Yeah, I get it, but he's almost 80. He's almost 80. You throw him behind bars.
I give him 10 years. I'll throw him out 10 years.
That's probably the rest of his life. Looking at Toby Keith, he's lucky to be alive at all, but yeah, you'd probably throw him away for the rest of his life. All right, no breaks. Appreciate you coming on.
I got one question though for you. I was going to throw out here earlier.
Sure.
If me and you on this Biden insurrection or Trump insurrection shit, if me and you threw a party, a street block party, right? And we had all the beer that we wanted to drink, all the J.D. Walker you wanted to drink, all that good stuff. And me and you was drinking and all that, and we had a big party. And some of our guests came to us and said, and they're stone-faced drunk. And they said, hey, man, can we borrow your car? You know, but can I have your car? Let me have it. You say, yeah, here, go ahead, take the car, man. I know you're drunk. Take the car, have a good time. And you go and do that, and you would be held accountable like a lot of bars are that continues to serve alcohol to drunk patrons. You would be held accountable if you knowingly gave your car keys to somebody who was obviously drunk. You would be just like this mom with this mass shooting. You'd probably be dealing with a manslaughter charge. So I get where you're going. I understand where you're going with it. Look, you threw the party, you threw the protest. Your invited guests got out of hand and committed all this mayhem. I get where you're going with it. Some folks. Is the party? What I'm saying is, am I responsible for the party, or am I responsible for that person? I'm responsible for the party. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
how it went, how it was done, and all that shit. So this shit that, hey, they're grown men, they know what they're doing, and all. Hey, them people I gave the booze to and handed the key to, they knew what they were doing too.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have drank the drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're holding me accountable. That's the same thing I see with him.
I get your point. I get your point, and I'll address it on the other side. No breaks. I do appreciate you coming on. Good talk as always.
No problem, buddy.
Absolutely.
Sorry about all the stuttering.
You good? Don't worry about that. You're good. You're talking to me. I can be challenging at times. It's a good talk though. Looking and in regards to what he was talking about though, whether you know or not know what you're doing, it is a legitimate question to ask. I often use females as an example. If a woman deliberately gets drunk, gets behind a car, and drives into someone, she's held accountable, even though she's completely drunk. But if that same woman has sex, she's too inebriated to consent, and she's held inexcusable for what took place. In fact, you could be charged with rape if you have sex with a woman that's inebriated. So the question becomes is, when is she actually capable of being responsible for her actions? If she chooses to get drunk, she's responsible. But if she chooses to have sex, she's not. How does that make any sense? So sometimes we do pick and choose when we're going to go after somebody and when we're not. Look it in the comments. So if you're old and have committed several crimes, you shouldn't have to do jail time. No, you should. I was trying to dig into what kind of time he was going to suggest. But once again, just like I mentioned with the way we treat women, oftentimes from a sympathetic point of view, we also do the same for the elderly. If an elderly person walks up and socks you in the face, they're not likely to face the same discipline as a 30-year-old doing it. I actually see my own grandma. My grandma was from the streets, grew up in the projects. She had to be about 75 at the time. Got mad at a neighbor for, disrespecting her. She hit him right in front of the cops. Ma'am, you need to go inside. If she was 30, they would have put her in handcuffs. It's a different. They do treat the elderly different. I'm not saying it's right, But when it comes to sentencing folks in jail and things like, they do treat them different. Not to mention, it's going to be a hindrance while being incarcerated as well. Sometimes wardens will ask that certain people be let out because it's more of a job to maintain this person. Elderly people tend to be sick and things like that. If you're in prison, now you're taxing the healthcare system. Just send them home. Just send them home. That happens. Remember, I'll go back to the box for you folks who saw maybe Shawshank Redemption. Morgan Freeman at the end of the movie violates parole to go to Tehuantepec to meet with Tim Robbins' character in the East States. I don't think nobody gonna make up a fuss for me violating parole, because he's old now. He knows that as a 40-year-old guy, if I violated parole and didn't show up, they'd come get me. I've served 50 years of my life in prison. I'm an old man. Now, ain't nobody coming looking for me, and he's right. The elderly get treated different. Look at in the comments. Body parts don't cause you a problem. What are you using for? I don't quite get that. That C has no memory. Yeah, that is a quote from the film. Going back to the box. Looking in the box, we'll go straight to Uncle James. I'm usually referred to as an uncle with the MAGA hat behind me, but it's not James. James, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I don't need immunity, but Trump does, and he's running into a wall. Do you think that's a legitimate ruling suggesting that he shouldn't get immunity?
I go back to the adage that there is no one, absolutely no one, who is above the law. Not me, not you, any citizen of this country, not the president.
So then I have to ask the second follow-up question. Did he break any laws at all?
I would say that the evidence thus far appears to be leaning to the fact that he committed treason. Not merely one single count, but several counts. All right. And let's just take for example, as you were speaking to the gentleman previously, the issue with the documents, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he took some documents. The CIA, the FBI said, "Hey, we need all of these documents back," right? And he said, "Sure, here's all the documents back." Except that's not what happened. What he gave was not all of the documents. So any idea or appearance that he's cooperating, the moment that he did not surrender all of those documents means that he's committing a falsehood. He is opening himself up to exactly the kind of crimes he's being accused of. Because it would have been a simple matter of just turning everything back over. It's a done deal. But he didn't do that.
But wow, you said treason. Real quick before you respond, on YouTube I see someone, I do read these. Someone said, "Hello, my son Nick Gers would like a shout out. He is autistic and would love it." There you go. The best for your son. So treason though. Treason. You think it's that bad?
Let me put it to you this way. We know. Here's some things that we know for sure as fact. These are not crazy theories or stories. We know that intelligence was leaked that cost the lives of not only American operatives and assets.
Wait. Has that been proven that Trump's possession of those documents has led to loss of life, maybe for other spies that were working for the United States? Has that actually been proven?
It has been. Well, let me not say it's been proven. Let me say that it's been alleged with enough evidence to say there's a timeline that's been established of when these things are occurring.
And I will interrupt and say that even if it is proven, they're not going to ever tell us that a Russian spy or an Iranian spy got killed because of Trump. That's so high up in the classification claim, they won't even tell you that because they don't want those countries to know we got spies. I mean, I'm sure they know to some degree anyway, but they don't want to admit that we have spies operating in their country. So even if that does happen, we'll likely never get clarification of that.
You are 100% correct. We will never know. But the fact that the impropriety, and this is the big word here with this, the impropriety is so glaring in the face of everyone involved that it cannot be ignored. And the thing that would have made this much simpler or much easier is that if there was nothing to hide, if there was absolutely nothing to hide, why go to the lengths that he's gone to try and avoid telling the truth. And I'm not like really speaking of the charges, but look at all of the attorneys that have worked with him thus far, the majority of which are about to lose their law license, if not do time themselves. This is not something that that me or you or anyone else is making up. These are factual things.
But if he is as bad of a leader as you're suggesting, there is a huge amount of support for Trump. The polls suggest that he is likely to be our next commander-in-chief. If he's the way you are suggesting, what do you think America would be like if he does take the reins come this November or in January when he's sworn in? What do you think America would be like under a second term of Trump?
I think we'd be in far worse shape than we are now. And
how so?
Let me quantify that by saying economically, Trump was horrible for America. If you speak to people, if you speak to experts in the oil and gas industry, for example, right, they will tell you that Trump did more damage to the American oil and gas.
Hold on, I gotta interrupt. With Biden promoting every form of alternative energy and being quite unfriendly to fossil fuels, why would anybody in the oil and gas industry prefer Biden over Trump?
Because Trump got OPEC to dump billions of gallons of oil, forcing the price of oil down, and utterly put American oil makers out of business. You can look this all up. This is verified facts. There are more American oil makers went out of business because of Trump's dealing and mishandling of everything overseas than any other president at any other time. It's true. It's true. So when you say, can he be a good leader? No, because his clearly his policies that would help Americans in a broad sense have never really been realized. Yes, he helped the 1% for sure. We can say that. We can honestly say that. But has he helped the average American? Has he helped even the very people, the mom and pop farm owners who are just trying to struggle and maintain their little small businesses?
But how do you respond when you say, has he helped out the little guy? How do you respond to so many little guys that might suggest under Trump we weren't coming close to a third world war, we didn't have immigrants laying all over the streets? How do you respond to them?
So here's the thing that I would say to that. Immigration has been a problem we should have been able to solve 30 or 40 years ago. It's not a problem that anyone has really attempted to solve in any. Are you
suggesting that immigration under Biden is no worse than it was under Trump?
I'm suggesting that right now there is a bipartisan deal to fix immigration that would actually put more judges, more border patrol agents, more of everything that they've asked for on the table to make it effective and happen right now. And the only reason the GOP is not voting for it is because Trump has given them their marching orders and has said he wants to use that as his platform to run.
But then I have to ask you, putting on my devil's advocate hat, I have to ask you the obvious question. If this deal on the table is so great that will get this problem under control, Biden is in the sunset of his first term. It's almost over in a span of 10 months. Why the hell did he wait till this long? Is he doing it because he cares about the country and the border, or is he just doing it to win the election? What say you?
Listen, I think the thing that you and I both understand clearly is that as much as a lot of people will vote for Joe Biden, we don't see him as the end all be all. We don't call him the chosen one. We don't like express our love for him over and I'm being.
But that says something, though, Uncle James. That's it. The fact is, you said we don't say he's the chosen one. We don't express all this love for him. The Trump supporters that you're suggesting do that. Why is it that after a full term of Biden, even the Democrats, according to you, don't have a lot of love for the guy?
He's because he's still an old guy. Look, if Joe Biden,
Reagan was old.
Listen. Here's the thing. Let's not act like and this is me and you talking, right? Let's not act like ageism is not a thing in America, right? We have had an issue with the older establishment guys who have been running around forever, and it's just like we want new faces, we want new blood. Listen, back in the 90s, the Republicans themselves created this thing called the Contract with America. And they wanted to put in term limits. They didn't want these lifelong politicians like Pelosi and all these other guys, and even Mitch McConnell. They didn't want it.
Uncle James, let me just interrupt and say this. I saw Bernie Sanders running for president back in 2016. I didn't see all of this ageism coming from liberals for Bernie Sanders. It's specifically to Joe Biden. I didn't see this towards Ronald Reagan from the Republicans. It is specifically to Joe Biden. It's not ageism. They're okay with old guys. It's just something unique to Biden. What is that?
Well, here's the thing. I think at the end of the day, it's just like, a guy can be a good president, but you don't have to agree with everything that he does.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think that that's rational, realistic thinking that Americans should have. What I don't see is a lot of people who, in the wake of all of this stuff that we see from Trump, can still say that I don't care. This is what they say. I don't care. I'm still behind him. That concerns me.
Okay, but I'm still going back to my original question. You mentioned folks calling Trump the chosen one, and there's so why is there so little Democrat and liberal love for Biden? I mean,
because my belief is that across the board, whether you're liberal or whoever else, that you want to see someone in that you believe can carry this thing through for a number of years. You don't want folks who are establishment. That was the whole reason Trump got elected in the first place, in my opinion, is that everyone was just like, we're tired of the establishment. Whether you're blue or red, we are tired of the establishment.
I don't get that. Hillary Clinton's establishment. Bernie Sanders been in Washington for a large portion of his adult life. The stuff you're talking about, see, it would make sense if all of these other cases I wasn't able to throw up. This stuff seems specific to Biden. There's something about that guy that even liberals are not big fans of. What is he doing that folks don't seem to like him?
I mean, I think the propaganda machine against Biden is very effective. I can't say that it's not effective. It's very effective. You know, Sleepy Joe, the whole thing. I think it's very, very effective, and people see that, and people on the left see that and say, yeah, he's done this and he's done that. And so, but this is the point where I go back to that with that, is that we don't feed into him personally on the left, and with that sort of cultish. And I'm not calling people, follow Trump in the cult, but we don't have that cultish love for him. We examine him for his goods and his faults, and we say, okay, we're not going to agree with him on this, or we may agree with him on that, but it's like, is he our number one choice?
No, and that's I'm gonna have to move it on, but just to follow. I got to move it on, but just to follow up, you mentioned the propaganda machine is working well on Biden. I don't disagree with that. But our last liberal president, we were told he was born in Kenya and his wife was a man, and it didn't work on him. There's tons of love for Obama. There's something unique to Biden where his age matters. The propaganda is working on him. Like you said, he's not our first choice. But yet the economists are saying the economy is doing phenomenal under Biden. So something about that guy is not resonating even with the liberal Democratic base.
I think the reason why it's not resonating is because at the end of the day, for all the good that he's doing, and I'm not saying that he's not doing a lot of good. He's doing a lot of great stuff for the country right now. But at the end of the day, he still represents the face of the establishment, right? And so as long as he is representing the face of the establishment, that's why we have that problem. And again, there are a lot of people even on the right who will say this, like, I'm not voting for Trump, but I don't know that I can vote for Biden. And that's a legitimate thing to say, because it's like, look, I'm going back to the thing that we wanted to get away from. And the problem that we have in this country is that the two-party system has failed the average American time and time again. The two-party system has failed the average American.
I don't totally disagree with that, but the points you're saying about Biden, I'm on a different side. But I do appreciate you coming in, Uncle James. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you
Absolutely.
for the time.
And by the way, when I mentioned Bernie Sanders with the age, Reagan with the age, hell, Trump is old as hell too. Trump is not much younger than Biden, by the way. They could have went to high school together. Their age difference is not that fucking far apart. Nancy Pelosi's old. Folks the liberals she has a huge favorability number with the Liberal Party. And when we talk about establishment politics, I don't think Nancy Pelosi is despised by many Democrats at all, and she clearly is an established politician. How long has she been in Congress? So I don't know. That's why I said I'm on the other side a little bit with the my last caller, his points. Something is unique about Biden that is not resonating with the left side of the aisle. Still trying to get to the bottom of that. Looking in the comments, by the way, tap the screen for my viewers on YouTube. Appreciate you folks that are here as well. Certainly smash that like button if you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host blocking, banning, censoring your time, trying to tell you what to say. Because we're all about free speech, I implore you to follow the program. You YouTubers, feel free to give your boy a subscription. Looking in the comments, he's more right than left. Who? Are you suggesting that Biden is more right than left? Because I did have a progressive on here, Mooded Tuxedo Cat, one of the friends of the program, actually stated that Biden is a Republican. Threw me for a loop, never heard it before, but we did have somebody else say that. I'll go to the box, but real quick, I will say this. I think starting with Obama, absolutely during Trump, because of the division, we've become very tribalistic. We don't tolerate anymore a leader that is willing to reach out across the aisle. The moment you reach out across the aisle, you are a traitor. Think Chris Christie walking along the beach after Hurricane Sandy, shaking Obama's hand because Obama told him any FEMA funds you need are going to be on the ready. The fact that he was on television with Obama, you've now become a traitor to the Republican Party. And that is the way it's always been now. If you are willing to reach across the aisle, like Joe Biden is willing to do, the progressives see him as a traitor, which makes it impossible to get shit done. We need to get out of that mindset. We really need to get out of that mindset that if you work with the other side, this little tiny ass corner of social media that I'm maintaining, get a lot of folks that don't favor what I'm doing because it's a program where we talk from both sides of the aisle. I get folks in the comments all the time. Pick a side. Pick a side. What side are you on? The program is named the Handsome Liberal, but the hat's there, so they're pissed off. So I don't know where to go with that. Looking in the box, appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. If you will, we may get up to 100,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. We ask that your folks on YouTube smash the like button. Going back to the box, banished Trumpster. This is always interesting. Should be quite interesting. President Trump, his immunity case running into a brick wall. Banished. What say you?
How's it going? Yeah, I think it's just pretty typical. I mean, we haven't seen anyone been indicted ever for any sort of corruption, crimes against the country. None of these people at these high financial institutions, when they're trading against customer funds actively with their own company funds.
But what does that got to do with the president?
Well, no, this is just like, I mean, when it comes to people who are in the establishment, and that includes these top banks, these top franchises, people like J.P. Morgan, they're rigging the metals market every day. People
okay, let me interrupt you and say this. Now, what you're saying, I'm not saying there's not any validity to that, but here's one of the things I often have an issue with. Anytime we bring up the crimes that Trump is allegedly being charged for, as opposed to saying the man is not guilty, we start asking, well, why didn't this other guy get charged as well? Did he commit the crimes and is being charged only when nobody else did, or is he actually innocent of the stuff? Why do other people that did things have to come up in reference to Trump?
I mean, it's just interesting when these people are, when you're in good terms with the establishment. I mean, you get investigated sometimes, you just pay your fine, you're good to go. They're trying to throw this guy in jail for 71 years. I mean, the president was, when they invested Bush for 9/11, he testified behind closed doors. No one got to saw it. It was really quick. It was like 2 hours and that was it. I mean, Donald Trump, they're trying to drag him in front of the cameras and what did he even do? He misfiled paperwork or, I mean,
Do you think it's possible that Trump is facing what you refer to as a different type of treatment, or what do they call it, a two-tier justice system? Do you think it's possible that Trump is going through this because he treated so many powerful people like shit?
I don't know if it's treating them like shit, but it's when you're not part of the team, they're going to go after you.
Bird brain?
Leverage the Justice Department.
He's calling.
Wait. The DOD. And,
Okay.
Use the stuff to go after you.
Banished. He's calling Nikki Haley bird brain. Does that qualify in your opinion as treating somebody like shit, or do you think she deserves to be called a bird brain?
I mean, if you're actively trying to send our soldiers to go die in Ukraine and you can't even name the provinces, I think that's a pretty good. I think that's nice, honestly. I mean. She wants to start all these wars and she can't even name the region of the country she wants to go send her kids to go die in. That's crazy. She has a bird brain. There's a lot worse things you should be calling her. And the whole I mean, I think it's that goes back to the January 6th thing. It's our sacred democracy. They went into our sacred temple and no one could.
So wait a minute. You support bird brain. What about Ron DeSanctimonious? You think that's legit too, huh?
Yeah, he's a traitor. I think you can call him a lot worse.
He's a traitor to who?
He's a traitor to Trump. He's a traitor to the Republican Party for turning on Trump. I mean, running against the guy who put you on like that. I mean, it's just disrespectful. You shouldn't be doing that.
So, wait. So, if you think that Ron DeSantis is a traitor for turning on Trump because you say he put him on, how do you feel about Tim Scott endorsing Trump after Nikki Haley put him on? Do you think Tim Scott's a traitor as well?
I mean, no one cares about Tim
That
Scott.
ain't what I asked you. I didn't ask you if you care. As one commander-in-chief once said, fuck your feelings, is Tim Scott a traitor?
Well, Nikki Haley's not the Republican.
That ain't what, oh my God. You said Nikki Haley is not what?
She's not the Republican Party. Trump is the MAGA movement, which is what the voters want, which encompasses the GOP. Nikki Haley, she's not.
But wait, you stated...
You can't be a traitor to someone who has no leverage, right?
But you can be put on by him.
There's no... Yeah, but you're not a traitor because she had no power. She was just she just came to the same level as him. DeSantis was trying to take Trump's, crown.
Trump, wait, hold on, Banish. Trump does not have any power. He's a regular citizen right now. The court that just ruled against his immunity claim stated it in their documents. You are a regular citizen right now. Trump doesn't have any power either.
No, well, when it comes to, I'm just saying, seniority level, it's a president and a senator versus senator and a senator.
He is a citizen right now. That's all he is. And by the way, Nikki Haley was a governor at one point. But what I'm asking you is, Nikki Haley put Tim Scott on, and she is now running for president, and Tim Scott snubbed her for Trump, who is calling the person that...
If I was Haley, I would look at that as I wouldn't be happy with that. But I don't care what Haley thinks. The Republican Party doesn't think what Haley thinks. The voters don't care what Haley thinks. So that's the thing. She's got no pull. When it comes to the GOP and the Republican Party, that's Trump. And you can't be a traitor to the Republican Party when you go against Nikki Haley because no one gives a fuck.
Okay.
I mean, this lady's... That's my point.
Okay, so anybody can go against Nikki Haley, even if she gave them their job because you don't believe she's a true blue Republican anymore.
Well, not even that. She's Trump had the reins of the entire thing. He was practically for lack of a better term, he's the king of the Republican Party. You see how he's dictating what happens now.
You took one sentence and used both king and dictator in the same sentence in reference to Trump. You do realize that's not a good thing, right?
I mean, when it comes down to it, look what they're doing to him. We want to fire all these people. We want to shake things up. I want someone who's going to be very... Do you want a king? Yeah, I don't know where this whole democracy thing seems to be going pretty poorly. I think if Trump took the reins, I want my team to win. And when it comes to the Democrats, I don't want a king. I want them to be held to the Constitution. I want them to be sued. I want them to have as least power as possible. But when people like me get into power, I want us to have as much power as possible and as much control to do as what we want. Like, screw these checks and balances. Like, we want to get stuff done.
Okay. So in other words, you would be in favor of a dictatorship.
Only if it's my team.
Okay. So you would be in favor of having Trump as a dictator.
Yeah, I would. If he said we're staying for 8 years, you think I'm going to be like, oh, no, I 100% support that. I mean, I don't know if this is legal. That's a joke, by the way. But, I 100% support that stuff.
Okay. So if Trump got elected and he stated that all of Congress and all of the Senate are all swamp creatures, I'm going to get rid of them and get some real patriots in here, would you support that?
Oh, yeah, these people have to be fired. They're proven traitors to the country.
Okay. So you do support a dictator. That's what a dictator does. Gets rid of all of the people in power, puts his own, essentially, goons in power. I mean, that would be like the Gestapo or something like that.
We want people who think like me in power, not people who think like Obama and Hillary Clinton and Nikki Haley in power. We want to get them all out, and put like real America first patriots and kind of like a revolution. Trump kind of went in there and he kind of had to, for lack of better terms, he went in there, he shot his shots, he missed. They come back and they landed all these shots at him, and we have to get in there, and you got to get in there and you got to fight,
How do you feel when folks suggest that they're not fans of Trump because he represents a destruction to democracy, which you're kind of defining by saying you prefer your side of a dictator? How do you feel about people who state that what you're promoting goes against everything the founding fathers ever dreamed of? How do you respond to that?
Well, the founding fathers, they would have been rolling over in their graves quite a long time ago. We gave up the right to print our own currency. We gave up the right to, even have our own sovereign country. We're bought out by foreign nations. We're bought out by special interest groups. This country's not run by Americans anymore. It's always a pleasure talking. I got one last question I want to ask you before I move on. Do you believe, now you're MAGA, right? Yeah.
Do you believe most folks that would refer to themselves as MAGA have your same mindset, that if Trump is a dictator, the country would be better off?
Maybe in the back of their heads, they'll never say it like I do, but maybe maybe quietly, but no one will ever come out and say it. But I'm willing to. But I think a majority are probably just like, oh no, we just have to vote our way out of this. If we just vote and pray. But Barack Obama was breaking all these laws when he let these dreamers in. He didn't care about what the Supreme Court said. It was ruled illegal. All these people are going to stay forever.
What do you think Trump, president, king, dictator, we got what they suggest, anywhere from 20 to 40 million people in this country. What do you think he would do? What would you favor Trump doing? 20 to 40 million people. What do you think he should do?
In regards to what? What should he do? Once he gets in?
Yeah, you got 20 to 40 million people in the country. Many of them are not here. Well, they're asylum seekers, but some of them are here illegally.
These people, they have to go. They have to be deported. They have to be sent, out of the borders. I don't even care if they go back to where they came from. They just can't be here. Mexico sounds nice, probably somewhere farther away. But, they came through Mexico. Mexico should probably have to deal with them.
Wow.
They can't stay here. It can't be an option.
Okay. All right, vanished.
One point on that. Why do they want to bring all these people in? It's because they want these places to be forever. They want to make it so Republicans can never win a national election. So that's why I don't even get this whole dictator thing. How many cycles are we going to have left as Republicans to win a national election if it's going at this rate? Literally 1 or 2 until all these immigrants come in. They're going to be nationalized by the Democratic Party if they get any sort of power. And then there goes your federal elections forever, at least 100 years.
You're saying that these immigrants come in and change the country, then there goes your federal elections. Wouldn't they be gone if you just simply put a dictator in office? Wouldn't Trump be by himself as a dictator? There goes your federal elections right there.
Well, yeah, it's one or the other. Let's say, I'm talking if Joe Biden wins, they're just going to nationalize all these people. They're just going to give them all citizenship. And I mean, Texas is never going to be red again. Places like Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona will never be red again. New York will never have a shot at going red. And it's all good. Kiss your federal elections goodbye at a national level.
All right, Dennis.
Your only chance will be to win elections at a local level.
All right.
Because they're all going to get nationalized. They're all going to have kids, and they're all going to be voting Democrat.
And you're not the only one saying it, but I do got to move it on. Appreciate you coming through. Now, we don't agree on hardly anything. We often talk. It's always a pleasure having him on. He's always welcome back, but we don't often agree on much. But I do think that he made one small point, that the invite, so to speak, I don't believe the borders are open, but it's damn near similar to that, because they know we have an administration that is more sympathetic to immigrants coming here. That's why there are more coming under Biden than there were under Trump. But I will say this. I don't believe what the Democrats are doing in regards to letting folks come in with a fairly little resistance. I don't believe it's all being done for goodwill. I would agree with my last caller with one point. They do expect those folks to eventually become Democratic voters. I certainly believe that. And when you look at how the Republican Party, particularly with Trump, is treating them, it makes it almost guaranteed. Now, my last caller suggested California, Oregon, some of these liberal states are never going to go red. That ain't necessarily true. If the Democrats can flip Atlanta, potentially flip Arizona, California could potentially go red one day. Most of the rural areas of these states are already red. There's large portions of California that are red. It's not just the party. It is the politics of the party. There's a reason why minorities and Hispanics overwhelmingly vote liberal. If you treat them a certain way, you could win those votes. They're not voting for Democrats just for the sake of doing it. If you're calling someone a vermin, you're suggesting they're poisoning the blood of the country. They all consist of rapists and murderers. Does it make any sense to think they may vote for you one day? You're sending them to liberal cities that are giving them a place to stay, a little bit to eat, a little bit of shelter over their head, and you're calling them all those names and even suggesting the liberals should throw them out on their backs. Once they become voters, who do you think they're going to vote for? Who do you think they're going to tell their children? Or do you think they're going to tell their children about their experience when they first came to America? In reference to the parties. When I first came to America way back in 2023, this is how the Republicans treated us. This is how the Democrats treated us. So now their sons and daughters are also listening to it and passing it down to their grandchildren. You don't think that may end up happening? 20 to 40 million illegals, or whatever the number is, regardless of how many of them are seeking asylum and are actually illegal or not, it will turn into Democratic votes. I do agree with what my last caller said, but it's certainly going to be exacerbated by how the Republicans are treating them and what they're referring to them as. So going back to the box, tap the screen, get your boy up to 110. Wow. Thank you for the support, by the way. Tapping the screen helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. You know the program is always will be MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome. For my YouTubers, certainly smash that like button. Feel free to subscribe. Civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle. Nobody's being blocked, banned, or censored. That's how we run the program. Going back to the box. To the box, we got FSU. Appreciate you holding on. Trump doesn't qualify for immunity. Why is that? FSU, appreciate you holding. Good afternoon.
No problem, man. Always good to talk to you.
Absolute.
As far as the immunity thing, now I'm not a fan of it. I think we have to separate Trump when he's acting as in presidential capacity versus operating in his best interests. And yeah, if he's operating on behalf of the country and he's ordering a drone strike, something like that, immunity him and any past president, I'm all for it.
So you just exonerate with that statement, such as a drone strike, that example, you just exonerated George W. Bush for Iraq or Barack Obama for droning an American citizen overseas. So you're basically saying that Obama and Bush shouldn't be charged with anything, but you're saying
And
Trump.
You don't have to tie a president to that. Yeah, they are operating in the country's best interest and doing the best they can in that position of the presidency, 100%. But what people fail to realize is on January the 6th, and we know that the Senate is in place and Pence is in place to certify the election. There has been no rally on January 6th at no other election year in history. That is a thing that he did. He put in place just to interfere with the transfer of power. If Trump is making a random phone call, it's not an issue. But he's calling a sovereign state to interfere with them certifying their election, telling them to find votes. That's a problem.
Well, let me put on my devil's advocate hat, if you will. On January 6th, you're mentioning acting on his own personal interest versus acting on behalf of the country. On January 6th, how do you respond if he suggests acting on behalf of the country? I believe that democracy was overturned. They had stolen the election, and I called upon a protest to stop that. I was acting on behalf of democracy and this nation.
We know we are certain that everybody has told him, including the actual states, that nothing happened illegally here. This election wasn't stolen. Kemp was on the same ballot in Georgia that Trump was, and there was no issue. Brad Raffensperger is the same person that certified the election, a Republican, by the way, in Georgia. He certified it the previous election, and he certified it that election. There was no problem. If you have an issue with the results, order a recount. He did that. He did it. He had an independent group do a recount in Arizona. They found no issue. So at that point, you hold a rally and you send them to the place where Pence and the entire Senate is there to operate and do business on behalf of the rest of the whole country, and you don't have security in place to prevent things from getting out of hand, then look, I think there is no evidence that anything's happened as far as the election, and he has had 3 years to prove that. He hasn't done it, and that's, as far as I'm concerned, those are the facts.
I can't argue with that. I think you orated that very well. You kind of knocked that out the park. But I
want to touch on something.
But hold on, hang on a second. But on January 6th, even though you're suggesting the election was stolen, on January 6th, do you think a crime was committed?
Do I think a crime was
by
committed?
the president, by Trump? Did Trump commit a crime on January 6th?
I think people operating on his behalf.
I'm talking about him himself. Should Trump be arrested for anything that happened on January 6th? Should he face any criminal discipline?
My decision is very close, but I'd say no. I think they have him on election interference. I think is a much bigger deal. I think the documents is a much bigger deal because when they call you to return documents and you say, I don't have any documents, and then they have you telling people to hide the documents. After you gave that response to the whole thing, which I don't totally disagree with, I'm shocked. So you say if it was up to you, he would not be charged with a crime. So if he's not charged with a crime, is it safe to say that the second impeachment of Trump was because of his action on January 6th was incorrect? You're saying he shouldn't be charged. Why was he impeached a second time? And you're asking me would I?
Yeah.
I have not. If we're just talking about him having the rally, and him, I think he covered his bases. I think the crime was there. He just did a really good job of covering his bases. Him saying, hey, go peacefully this one time, but then go fight like hell the other multiple times he said that. Look, I just think we're in gray area when we're talking specifically about that, the actions on January the 6th. But am I completely certain that the whole January the 6th rally was a last-ditch attempt to not transition power? 100%, I'm confident that was the case.
But if you're admitting that if it was up to you, you wouldn't hold him criminally accountable, which would essentially mean there would be no second impeachment and no Jack Smith charging him for that. In the comments, Steve Stucker says the liberals are just plain dirty. If you believe as a liberal, I'm assuming you lean left, as someone like yourself, if you believe that he shouldn't have been held accountable criminally for what happened, that is the second impeachment, that is the current case he's facing right now, is that happening simply because the liberals are playing dirty?
No, I don't think it's the liberals are playing dirty. I think the liberals have cases and they have to prove those cases. I mean, look, I think we putting the cart before the horse here. If they have a case against them, the prosecutors are going to try to prove the case. But from what I see right now, I mean, I'm not going to find them guilty on face value. I do think that January 6th, it wasn't well intended. I don't think he had a rally on January 6th just because he was dissatisfied with the election. He wanted to keep power. Let's not be divorced from reality there. Like, he legitimately, he had the fake elector scheme. He tried to call the states individually. There were multiple attempts for him to interfere with these states certifying Biden as president. And then I want to jump to one more thing.
Go ahead. I'm just surprised at that answer, but go ahead. Keep going.
No, don't be surprised. Look, I feel like I'm fair-minded here. I want us to stop making it seem like the most popular person is going to always win. The Cowboys are the most popular football team in the Super Bowl. Listen,
I'm with Mahomes, but go ahead. I'm with Mahomes, but go ahead.
I'm 49ers for life. But listen, we look at these people and we look at campaign rallies and we think that means it's a vote. Here's the sad reality, people. Trump beat Hillary. He beat Hillary. He has never beaten Biden. And if you think Biden isn't a front runner and he's projected to repeat, he's an incumbent. So everything the Republican platform has to do is to show and paint him as doing a bad job when the economy says he's not, when the actual CHIPS Act and infrastructure bill and everything he's done in his 3 years is showing that he is suitable and being productive in that job. Whether he's popular or not, I really don't care.
Hold on. Let's take popularity of Biden out of the picture. Let's take the Republicans out of the picture. In your humble opinion, because we just speculating here, but in your opinion, scale of 1 to 10 being super happy, where do you think the liberals fall on that scale in regards to judging Biden? 1, completely dissatisfied, 10, completely happy. Liberals only. Where do you think the liberals and Democrats fall on that scale when judging Biden?
I think the liberals, given the fact that this country leans left and that the Republican Party has won a popular vote one time in the last 40 years, I'd say they're 8 or 9. I think the liberals...
Wow! You really believe that?
Again, listen, this is coming from, most liberals don't go to campaign rallies and put bumper stickers on their cars and wave flags and wear swag and do all this. They just go and vote. And what the Republican Party tries to do is limit the amount of people that vote. And
yeah, that I agree. That part I agree with. That part I do agree with.
Another thing is about immigration. Guys, the Liberal Party doesn't need immigrants to win an election. There were no influx of immigrants in Georgia, and the Republican Party just lost a blood red state. And you think, let me tell you what should happen. The Republican Party, the whole RNC, should go to Georgia and say, look, this state has voted red for the last 40 years. What happened? And instead of them doing that, they try to play like something was stolen from them. Trump is playing victim. They took the election from us, but they didn't take anything. The people chose Kemp, who's a Republican. They liked the job the governor's doing, and they broke ticket and said, I don't like Trump. Point blank, period. Sure. And that's what people fail to realize. If I'm a Republican, I can think critically. If I'm a Republican, here's what I want my party to understand. You're on the wrong side of several major issues. Women's rights to choose. The country is more than half women. If you don't agree The youngest baby ever born was 21 weeks.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you real quick. Let me interrupt you. I know where you're going, but I want to interrupt and ask this. In regards, you saying them being on the wrong side of women's issues. In your opinion, once again, we're speculating. Who do you think between Biden and Trump, if it comes down to that rematch, will win the women's vote? Will more women vote for Biden or more women as a whole vote for Trump?
Based off of these small elections that's happened post Roe v. Wade, I think Biden will win the women's vote.
Then Biden will be reelected.
He will win the youth vote. He will obviously win the minority vote, and he will obviously win the election just like he did the last time. But it's not the only issue that they're on the wrong side of. Equal rights for LGBTQ people. They're on the wrong side of that.
Yeah.
They think that the people that are most harmful to us in our country is a cross-dressing person, when in actuality, the most harmful people are people that blend in, that look regular, and they aren't regular. They're psychopaths. Yeah. They think that people that are going to harm us are migrants or immigrants, and it's the person you go to school with, the person you go to work with, the person you go to church with. These people that are integrated in our society, they're the person that commits the most crime in Iowa is just a regular-looking dude, people in Iowa.
So why do you think if what you're saying is true, and I do believe there's a lot of validity to it, but if what you're saying is true, why do you think that folks on the right think just the opposite, that they do think the LGBT community, for instance, is going to use the wrong bathroom and become a pedophile, or that someone is going to cross the border and start raping and murdering people? Why do you think they have such a different view than you?
I mean, I think the easiest answer to that is there are a subset of normal people that are weird, and a lot of weird looking people are just normal people.
You think MAGA is weird?
No, I'm not associating that to MAGA. I'm just saying, when you trust what you see, just stay with me, Tim, for a second. Okay. When you trust what you see, we see a normal looking person, and then you think, hey, they're not the issue. And then you see a weird looking person, whether it's the way they dress or the way they present, and you automatically assume that person is the person that's in society doing harm to people. That is an insane approach, and you can't judge that book by its cover. You're basically talking about otherism. I get what your point. That makes perfect sense. You're talking about making us versus them type mentality. Wow, strong. I think people when everybody looks the same, and there's a environment where you feel safe, and the reality is there's a subset of crime and bad people that aren't well intended among us all. So here's the thing: you have to, I'm the DNC or the RNC, regardless of however you lean, the onus is on you to resonate with the people, your voting base. But wait a minute. Your voting base to your platform. Okay, fair enough. But let me just ask you this last question before I let you go. In your opinion, do you think things would really be that bad if Trump got reelected? Yeah, of course they were. He denied COVID. Are you insane? Listen, Tim, at the end of the day, our country responded more poorly to the COVID, a pandemic that we had a pandemic playbook for, a pandemic response team. But he was so eager to dismantle that team and disregard that playbook and try to make it seem like we had a good economy, then he actually was to, hey, let's get with the rest of get with my 50 states and make sure that we handle this pandemic responsibly. Yeah, let me end with this, Tim. I'm just trying to make this clear and concise as I can. Everything the Republican Party and platform wants, Democrats have given them over the past 3 Democratic presidencies. When you go all the way back,
they didn't give them control of the border.
Oh, hold on. Listen, talking about the border is like watering your lawn when your house is on fire. It's not even close to being the main problem. But let me just get my thought out. You want to talk about economy? The Clinton, Obama, and our current economy eclipse any Republican president. It's not close. You want to talk about energy independence, and you mentioned something about Obama. Obama started fracking. We have found new technology and way to extract gas, and and right now in 2024 extract more petroleum than we ever had in history. Does that also mean we can't walk and chew gum and have a pickup truck that gets 30 miles to the gallon?
Yeah.
Of course we can. You don't want to give Democrats credit for that, which they 100% should. So today we are more energy independent. What does that mean? We gas, electric, solar, all of our energy combined, we use less than we export.
All right.
Yes, we
All
can
right.
extract more oil.
I don't think I gotta move it on FSU, but I think the problem is not necessarily disagreeing with you, but the problem is the voters don't feel what you're actually saying.
Here we
But
go. Tim, you say that a lot, and I know you got to go. Facts
Real
over
quick.
feelings, man.
all right. All right.
Facts over feelings.
All right, and perception, but facts over feelings. Hold on, facts over feelings. But keep in mind, perception can be reality to some people. Appreciate you coming in.
It isn't, though.
All right. Okay, and I'm not saying the way people perceive America is always correct. I agree with a host of things that last caller just said, but for some, perception is reality. Certainly, if you're watching the 24-hour news cycle nowadays, where you got folks on the right putting the worst of immigrants on TV, it fits the agenda that these are bad people. Or you got liberals putting the worst of women needing abortions on television, whereas people with true health issues. You're not going to find a woman on MSNBC or CNN that's just simply having abortions because she don't want the kid. You're finding people to meet the narrative. That's kind of how it works, and that's what we're talking about. Perception is reality, because you want people to perceive the worst of something. Happens on both sides. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the 112,000. It's a lot of light mind Americans. I don't quite get that. Blacks who worked for Trump loved him as their best employer. No evidence of racism. Now, that could be possible. Now, real quick, just to respond to that. Trump did lose actual case, or his apartment complexes or rental properties did, where he was refusing to rent to minorities. Actually lost a court case for that, but that doesn't mean he's racist. Could be something else. I'm just going to simply say this in regards to people suggesting that they worked for Trump and he was not racist, or he used to hang around everybody from Oprah to Al Sharpton. Folks suggest he dated a black woman and things like that. Understand that President Trump was on television saying he identified as a Democrat. What party is he running for now? He's on television. You can Google or YouTube everything I'm saying. He's on video saying he's never asked God for forgiveness in his entire life. Who is one of his biggest supporters? Evangelicals. He's on video saying that you don't need an assault rifle. Big NRA support going to Trump. He's on video saying sometimes you have to take away guns first if the person is mentally ill and give them due process later. So the idea that he may be one way and being viewed as another, Trump is a changed man. Because folks ask all the time, well, why the hell are people saying all this stuff simply because he became president? Rappers used to talk about him and like him. Well, he wasn't saying and doing the things he's doing now. He is a changed man. That's why he's being viewed differently now than he was back in those days. He wasn't saying the stuff he says now. If Biden makes changes, people are going to change how they view him. That's normal. Notice a lot of the things that show that Trump is not a racist is coming from the 80s and 90s and further back. You don't hear people saying a whole lot about his presidency or right now to suggest he's not racist. It's old stuff. Just like the claims that Biden is a racist are based on old stuff. 94 crime bill, Senator Byrd. I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle. Probably the only somewhat modern comment, vote for me, you ain't black. All of the other points being made 20, 30, 40 years ago. Both of these men are different than they were generations ago. It's a difference. People change. I don't want somebody judging me on some of the things I did back in the 20s, back when I was 20 and 30 years old. People change. Perhaps these folks did too. As always, I do appreciate you folks that have tapped the screen, 115 for my YouTubers. Certainly appreciate you folks smashing that like button. You know how the program is read. So it is and always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA are always the preferred guests here. Liberals are welcome as well. We go left of Bernie Sanders all the way to QAnon. We don't block, ban, or censor anybody. It's all about free speech. Nevertheless, if you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, follow the program, kick in a subscription on YouTube. It's not about telling you what to say, but rather listening to how you think. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. Appreciate you folks on YouTube. Audience on YouTube is growing. I do appreciate that. It certainly got a super chat from one of the viewers, and he asked a question. Certainly a super chat is worthy of addressing his comment, but I didn't quite understand the comment, so I do apologize for not being able to completely answer the question he asked, because he made the super chat, $10. Wow, thank you. But I didn't quite understand his question. Make LSD great again. Wow. Oh my God. You look like Big Obi. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming you're talking about some actor or something. Poor kids are just as smart as white kids. That's another one of Biden's racially motivated comments. That is true. Doesn't matter if he's racist, he's an opportunist, and he will throw you under the bus. Yikes. Many agree with you. I ain't voting for either of these fools. Then you're helping support one of them. If you don't vote for Biden or Trump, I would like to hear who you voted for in the past, because I could probably tell you who you're helping out by doing that. Nobody here knows about Project 2025, right? Yeah, we do know about 2025. We do know about that. Biden didn't want to integrate schools. Yeah, like I said, he's a changed man. Perhaps, because he sure as hell integrating the White House. Biden got Muslims on his administration. He got LGBT members. I mean, his main spokeswoman, his VP are white. His first Supreme Court justice pick is black. When he suggested Biden is racist, he sure ain't doing a lot to suggest that. I mean, the guy's cabinet looks like the damn rainbow. It doesn't measure up to what he's doing. That's all I'm going to say. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all take care.